So we have 2,000 points worth of Blood Angels, Red Tide, pure infantry list. So we've got 2 battalions and a elite section here. So that's a lot of command points. First of all, we've got 30 tactical marines. That's 6 units of 5. Still haven't got around to painting those 5 guys. They're next on the list of projects. So that's 3 squads of 5 without anything extra, and then 3 squads that have a plasma weapon. Moving on to the elites section, we have 9 sanguinary guard with 3 axes. We have 12 death company, all with jetpacks, 2 thunderhammers and 4 power swords. Then we have 2 units of termies, one's a bare bones tactical terminator unit, and one's thunderhammer and storm shield. Looking at the HQ finally, and well, one's an elite, the sanguinary ancient, but he counts as a character. We have a lieutenant with mastercrafted bolter and power sword. Then we have a captain with the same loadout, Captain Atreides. Then we have a chaplain just with a jetpack, a sanguinary ancient with a stormfist, and then Mephiston, and a captain who's going to have the black rage, and he's got a thunderhammer and a jetpack. And then in terms of psychic powers, Mephiston's got the first 2 in the Blood Angels Codex that make him more choppy, and then also Wings of Sanguinius, and of course Smite. So that's 2,000 points with the Blood Angels, no changes since the last couple of battle reports. So we'll see what we're facing off against now. So here's the army that we're facing off against today. 2,000 points worth of pure infantry Green Tide Orks. So it's the Red Tide versus the Green Tide. Wicked, right. Trays of boys. Let's see what we've got. Lucy, can you talk us through in more detail?
Okay, so I've got 2 battalions and 1 vanguard. 1 battalion is Evil Suns, 1 is Bad Moons, and the vanguard is Death Skulls.
Okay.
So here's a battalion, obviously. So I've got 3 units of 30 boys, all equipped with 3 big shooters in the unit and a knob with a big chopper.
Okay.
Along with that, you have a weird boy with the jump and a war boss standard. And then in the other battalion, I've got 2 units of grots, a unit of 14 and a unit of 15. And I have another 30-man unit of shooter boys this time, with 3 big shooters and a big chopper knob as well. To accompany them, I have 2 big mechs, both with a big chopper and a custom force field each. And then I have the elite, the 2 pain boys over here, 1 on a bike and 1 on foot. The war boss on the bike, he's the warlord with the Evil Suns warlord trait.
Is he from the Index?
He's from the Index, yeah. He has a power claw and the relic, the killer claw.
Okay.
Then I have a knob with a war banner. Another weird, who's just here. Another weird boy who's not painted, just there. And 3 units of commandos with a standard knob and 2 burners in each.
And your looters.
And then 10 looters.
So many. Right, okay, so let's see what happens. We're just going to play a mission from the standard rulebook and have a bit of fun, casual game. So here we have the field of battle after deployment. So we ended up rolling up the scouring from the big rulebook, and Lewis chose the one where you lengthways, but have a slight diagonal to your deployment, so you are essentially 18 inches away from each other, 15 inches on. So as you can see, Lewis has got his looters up here on this objective. Then he's got a blob of boys down here with some Gretchen just behind. Another blob of boys at the back, or 2, covering from any deep strikers. He's got a load of characters in here, giving buffs. He's got his weird boy with a psycho. He spent an extra command point to give him an extra psychic power, make him a psycho level 2. Then he's got his war boss, his pain boy, a variety of other characters and boys just fielded around his deployment zone. Just a horde, a green tide. I think you can tell when you've done a green tide right, when it sort of all just blends in, and then when you take a moment you can sort of pick out the details, but from afar it just looks like a tide of death. And over on my side, my red tide is dwarfed in comparison. So I've got my 30 infantry, I've got a Tat Marine squad over here, and I've got, or two, sorry, one with the plasma, one without. And then I've got one underneath in there, and 3 out front, ready to advance into this building potentially. And I've got 3 of my characters on the top, Red Baron, Chaplain and the Sanguinary Ancient, and then Mephi, a Captain and a Lieutenant just up behind the front rank. So we will call the objectives clockwise from this one here. So we'll do 1, 2 over here, and then we've got a 3rd in this building unoccupied, a 4th here, a 5th here, and a 6th on top of there. Okay, so superior first, and that is 1, which is this one. And then the inferior is 1, so I'll re-roll that. 1, it's predetermined. 3, so that's 1, 2, 3. So this building over here, which is currently unoccupied, may remain that way as it is the inferior objective. So currently I've got +1. We'll roll off now to see if I go first or if Lewis goes first. So I've got a 1 + 1 makes 2. Not a great start. Yes! So I'm going first, unless you can steal. No, you can't, but you can try and steal the initiative.
No.
Oh. Right, Blood Angels, turn 1, let's go. So an interesting first turn for the Blood Angels. First of all, I decided to keep these guys where they were instead of advancing into this cover, and shot away. But Lewis managed to pass every feel no pain that went through, and I did shockingly on my shooting, so we lost no orcs. Then I fired away with all my Dakka over here, and I moved forward and took this building with 3 squads, 2 plasmas in there. And then these characters are actually on the 2nd floor, but I've just got them there so you can see them. They just jumped across from here. And I shot and shot, first couple of squads into the looters, and Lewis just kept rolling a dice to get, he used a stratagem that let him roll a dice and a 2 up the, he can lose a Gretchen instead of an Ork, a looter. So then with the last couple of squads I switched fire, just shot up the Gretchen, managed to kill them down to 4 models. But then instead of Lewis having to do a battle shot test, he just rolled a d3 to keep them in check and lost 1 mortal wound, so I failed to get first strike. So all in all, I think I've killed about 12 Gretchen out of this entire horde, so that is not really a very good start for the Blood Angels. I've split my force a little bit as well, so this is an unconventional start, but we'll see what we can do, and we'll see what the Orks do to respond to that after their turn 1. So after the Greenskins' first turn, Blood Angels are in a desperate fight for their life. The Greenskins just swarmed forward around the side of this building. I expected them to just absolutely mob the guys that were in that building, but they showed some restraint, which was probably a good idea because I was preparing a little bit of a killing field around that tower. Some shots were sprayed across, quite a lot of shots in fact, and Lewis was generating a lot of hits and wounds, but I was getting lucky with my saves. And fortunately only lost 1 Tat Marine from over here, so standing still and shooting, although I didn't get any wounds, overall good idea. Loads and loads of smites, put my Chaplain onto 1 wound and then just mass Dakka fire, killed him off. I just misplaced my Chaplain very slightly, exposed him just slightly ahead of one of my Tactical Marine squads, and yeah, that, silly mistake, I got punished for it, so my Chaplain died, and Lewis got first blood. But it did absorb almost all of his fire, so all in all, not so bad. Then in combat or assaults, he sent this knob forward against a squad of 5 guys in here, but failed to do any wounds. And then a massive squad of 30 swarmed round here. Mephiston heroically intervened, and they got into combat with a squad of 5 guys, and my captain and my lieutenant also heroically intervened. They managed to get my captain down, or Mephi struck and killed a fair few with Speed of the Primarch, and then they managed to get my captain down to just, I think it was 2 wounds left. Yeah. Was it 3 or 4 off? I thought it was 3 saved and 4. Either way, yeah, I think pretty much the captain's on 1 wound, but he survived the assassination attempt by these boys. Now these boys are under half strength, so Lewis can bring them back if he so wants. and we both burnt a fair few command points. I think these guys lost 16, and the rest of my characters are unharmed. So it's a desperate fight already, the Green Tide swarming ahead. The Blood Angels have their reinforcements, so let's see what they can do in turn 2. So Blood Angels turn 2 was a massive one. Now it started off with these guys just jumping, running along into here. So they were in rapid fire range of this squad and in cover and holding or near, holding that objective. Then I left my characters in combat and then started deep striking. So I deep struck in my normal tactical termies here, and then I put my Death Company here, just next to them, and I put my other termies just around here, just on the other side, so a big band of heavy hitting elite units, because I figured that's the superior objective. They'll be cutting Lewis off from that objective, and forcing Lewis to split between this area and the objectives he was pushing towards. So although he still has this objective locked down, really causing him to split his forces and come at him from all angles. And I really sort of created a killing field here, and that meant that when I started shooting, I also jumped my captain from, he was on this first level there, just 12 inches across to here. He was buffing the Death Company and these guys with 6 inches. These guys started off shooting, but without any buffs. They only killed a couple of boys. I think Lewis actually saved, he got like 3 or 4 6 up field no paint again. I thought, oh no, here we go again. It's going to be a bad one. But then the captain, Baron Harkonnen, rallied the troops, and these guys and the Death Company just started spraying him with bolters and storm bolters, and they massacred probably about 15 or 16 of the Orc boys that were here, just getting ready to run around this side of the tower and flank it. Then the guys inside here sprayed off as well, and we managed to kill a couple more, and that was it really, not much else shooting. The squad that was in close combat with that guy shot him with his pistols and killed him. What was he called? The banner guy?
Just a knob with a warband.
Oh, just a knob with a warband. So they shot him twice in the face with pistols, point blank range, double 6, so he's got double 1 on his saves. These guys have deep struck in here, and they sprayed a volley of finely crafted ornate bolter rounds, Angelus bolt gun rounds, each individual bolt round crafted by hand and covered in gold leaf into these grots, and managed to kill 5 or 6 of them, 6, 7, I'm not sure, and got the squad down to 1 guy. So each grot squad is just down to 1 guy. And you may think, well, why am I bothering to shoot those grots? Well, it's because they're only toughness 2, so I'm wounding them on 2s, and as he gets Lewis can spend a command point to put the wounds across to them anyway in a 2-up. May as well shoot the grots and then move on to the looters. But yeah, these guys putting pressure on this flank here. That is the inferior objective, but it's an unprotected flank, so a good angle to hit those looters. They are deadly to my termies. So then we got into close combat, used 3d6 to charge in the Death Company, and the termies got a 12-inch charge anyway. The captain also charged down 5 inches just into the 3 characters that were here, and the Death Company also managed to contact the war boss on bike. Struck the Death Company first, struck really well with the Thunderhammers and 2 power swords that were able to reach the war boss, and managed to kill him outright, and then butchered the other boys down to about 9 boys remaining. The captain killed the Psycho with 3 attacks, but only managed to do 2 wounds to the Pain Boy otherwise. Over here, I charged 5 men from the 3 squads in this building into these boys to support the characters, and between Mephi, Captain, and etc. killed all the boys back there. Oh, and just to mention, the Death Company then spent 3 command points to strike again against the boys, and managed to get them down to 1 remaining guy who died from battle shocks. That wiped that unit out. So Lewis has 1 squad of boys remaining on the field. He has got some in deep strike and looters, but these guys are under half strength, so he can bring them back now if he wants to. So let's see how the Orcs do. in their turn 2. So in this epic battle for survival, at the end of turn 2 for the greenskins, a lot has happened. So Lewis deep struck in his reserve chopper boys. Or did you respawn chopper boys?
Respawn chopper boys.
Respawn chopper boys here, behind my termies. And then he deep struck in his backup shooter boys just next to his looters in this building. And I had my 5 death company and 5 termies here, and obviously 5 termies there as well. So he dackered and managed to kill off 3 of the termies with 2 blasts from the looters, was it?
Yeah.
And then he managed to finish them off with all the dacker from this squad, and about half this squad could shoot. So he managed to kill off 5 termies. In the psychic phase, he'd just got 1 blast off with his weird boy and popped all 5 death company. So that was the squads in the centre wiped out. So it's just blow for blow. I can't believe it's just the end of the second turn. Then he rolled a load of charges. And oh yeah, I had 2 termies left. Sorry, he'd only killed 3 off. And he managed to charge in, and he got in with his boss, his mech boy, his pain boy, and his weird boy. And the termies managed to strike and do 3 wounds to his boss. The pain boy had put 3 wounds on himself from a miscast. That guy's got 2 wounds from the captain previously. The mech boy's unharmed, and they managed to kill the termies. It was the mech boy with power claw who did it in the end. He killed both off. The others all failed to do anything. And then all these boys attacked this entire squad and managed to kill 3 guys off. And I've just realised I've never done my attacks back with them. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks with power fist, hit on 4s. That's 2 hits, no re-rolls. Wounding on 2s, that's double 6, so that'll be 2 boys dead. Okay, so all in all, I'll have to do a battle shot for my termies. They fail, but 6 plus 3, 9, I think they'll probably be alright. They show no fear, I'm absolutely fine. Right, okay, so all in all, it's been an amazing bloodbath. Lewis still has 2 units with flamers, sneaky commandos, or 3 units of sneaky commandos coming in his 3rd turn as reserves. Whereas I've deployed all my reserves on the field. This is the majority of Lewis's dead pile, as you can see. Loads of orcs have been taken off, and in fact, about 16 of a squad were put back on when it was respawned. So really, it's even more than is in that pile have been killed. So it's been a really bloody back and forth. Let's see what happens in Blood Angels turn 3. So Blood Angels turn 3, and the bloodbath has gone on into a 3rd round. Now Mephiston was back here, just up against that building at the end of my turn, because he'd been defending my back lines, tied up by the boys initially. So he moved 7 inches and then winged over to here. Then he smited into Lewis's boss that was just here, and managed to get 3 wounds through and finished him off with a plasma pistol. Then these boys here, they moved forward, just walked forward out of cover, abandoning their objective, and sprayed into these guys and killed, about 5 or 6 or 7, which was all right, but not as much as I wanted. These guys laid in supporting fire and killed a couple more, so I did some decent damage to them, and I was about 3-4 inches away, so I thought, right, may as well get charge in there, stay aggressive. So I charged the 2 squads in there. As you can see, that may have been a little bit of a miscalculation, because I actually ended up losing 7 men in return, and Lewis still has 17 men in that squad, so he only killed 13 in total when all was said and done. Over on this side, the Sanguinary Guard just moved across and surrounded the building. Then they sprayed in and killed a load of boys, with their AP-1 not mattering because of the mech boy giving that a 5 up feel no pain against shooting. But then I've still got 3 squads under here and a squad back here. And the squad back there, as I said, had shot into here and given supporting fire. But the 3 squads under here really weighed in against the infantry and popped a couple of plasma at the looter and a couple of bolter shots at the looters as well. And I managed to, now that he only had 1 grot left and no command points, because we all burnt through our all of our command points by the end of our turn 2, both of us. And we both started with 14, so that was good going, just throwing everything at each other. But yeah, the boys were shot up really badly by the squads under there, the Sanguinary Guard and the Sanguinary Ancient, and then they were charged. I got 12 and just absolutely surrounded them, kept one guy back within 6 inches of the captain, and I'd moved and advanced the captain forward and got a 4 on my advance, so we moved 10 inches around the side of the building, just from there. And that meant that they were re-rolling all hits, which is why they managed to do so much firepower. So I risked my captain, ran him forward, but I thought it's worth it, because if I can get that advance roll, I didn't know I was going to get the advance, I could have flubbed it, and I had no command points, but I thought I'm going to run 6 out into the open, chance it, and I did manage to get in. Sacrificed the attacks of one guy, but in the end it was worth it, because I killed the boys down to 5 men, and there was no one who could help them or stop them from dying from battle shock. So Lewis rolled I think a 5 or 6 and died. Over on this side, he didn't lose anyone from battle shock. So it's been an absolutely crazy sort of 2.5 turns, because Lewis has still got his 3rd turn to go. It's still green tide, turn 3. So we'll see what happens. Oh, and in final news, Mephiston charged in here, and he finished off the Pain Boy and the Weird Boy with a couple of whacks from his sword, because the Pain Boy had already taken 2 wounds and the Weird Boy had already taken 3, so he finished them both off. So it's looking pretty good for the Blood Angels. Orks have still got the looters up here, but pretty much everything else is dead, so we'll see what... Oh, and I pulled these guys out, but it's not cowardice, it's a tactical withdrawal. We'll see what the Orks can do in their turn 3. So the Greenskin started off their turn 3 with a bit of cunning, guided by Mork or possibly Gork, and he dropped in one of his Burner Boy groups on this objective here, overlooking Mephiston. He dropped in another squad behind my lines, looking at this objective here, and then he dropped a 3rd squad in an assassination attempt on my 1 wound captain here. He had a couple of characters down here just already engaged in combat, and these guys were obviously already engaged in combat with the TAC Marines. So after a brief bit of shooting from these guys, which failed to achieve anything, the Burner Boys, they were out of range obviously with their flamers, but they fired with their normal Daka at the captain, who was on 1 wound, but they failed to hit, thankfully, with anything, leaving them exposed, thank the Emperor. Then these guys piled in on my TAC Marines and just mercilessly butchered the remaining 4 Marines, finishing off my troops in this area, and then they just piled in to the Tactical Marine who was trying to withdraw, trying to prevent him escaping. In combat, my Sanguinary Guard just butchered the 2 remaining greenskin characters, the Pain Boy and the Mech, I think it was, just wiped him out, and then they just moved 3 inches up towards the looters. The looters can hear banging going on the floor below, and they're preparing to meet Gork or possibly Mork. So now, oh, and then finally Mephiston just diced apart the final, what was he? Oh, he was a Mech Boy as well. Killed the Mech Boy, getting rid of any 5-up invuns for shooting, and freeing himself up. So the Orks have taken control of the board. They've got units all over the place, holding on to objectives, and they've got some troops in the middle remaining. Blood Angels have some fast moving stuff and a couple of buffs and this and that, scattered resources, and a lot of troops in this building here. So let's see what they can do in turn 4 to seize control of the game. So in Blood Angel's turn 4, Mephiston continued his rampage of destruction. He still had wings from the previous turn, so he shot over to here and to the lower floor, popped a plasma pistol up at an angle to there, but missed. He then charged in, and he took 2 wounds in Overwatch from the burner squad, but then he killed 4 of them and 1 survived, and he got his psychic power off, which only 1 psychic power off, which gave him 1 extra attack, and nothing else went off that turn. These boys took about 12 kills, but only lost 1 guy from battle shock. So they remain with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a knob near that objective, and I won't be able to contest it because that's elite and that's elite. So these guys are hanging in there. And then over on this side of the board, my attack marines, one squad of the 2 that remain in there, and the 1 extra guy that survived previously, he advanced out so he couldn't shoot, and these guys moved out, and these also contributed to trimming these guys down, as did the 5 back there. I've left a 5-man squad in there as well. The captain moved up to protect himself, defend himself against the burner boys, because attack is the best form of defence, but in the end he didn't need to, because these guys fired in to give him some supporting fire and actually just killed them all before he got there. So he's now moving potentially towards that objective. So that is Blood Angel's turn 4. It's been an absolute bloodbath, but the Orks are in control of the area of the board near the main objective. This guy has objective secured because of a special rule, so he's losing control of that objective as well. So it is still all to play for. We are both bloodied and battered, but it feels like the Blood Angels are quite solid in terms of some of the units that they have on the field. So let's see what Orks can do in their turn 4. So turn 4 for the Orks was pretty good, pretty quick. These guys just moved towards this Termi and then attacked him, and they ended up killing him in close combat with the knob. These guys moved forward onto that objective, and in the combat phase, Mephi of course finished off the last burner boy in close combat. So that is what we're going to call a game there, because the Blood Angels have got 2 points there. That captain will easily seize that point to make it 3, and then we have 4, 5 there, 6, 7 there, and Lewis, even with the superior objective giving him 4, is only on 4, 5, 6 points. I've got his warlord, but he hasn't got mine, and so, you know, even if we just carried on and these guys clung on and managed to hold on to the objectives that they're on without being killed by the bolter fire that I could pour onto his positions, you know, it would still be a win. So it doesn't matter really. The Orks can't gain any more ground, they can only lose it. And it's been a long day and an epic battle, and we've really had all of the action of like a 7-turn game just crammed into basically the first 2 or 3 turns. So thanks very much for your time, Lewis, and thank you very much to you guys out there. It's been the Schola Progenium. Goodbye.